Welcome back. Now, the Automobile Association warns of a possible fuel hike at the end of this month. The association says that the weakening rand caused by last week's unrest will have quite a major effect on the price of fuel, diesel, this including paraffin. Just last week, we saw motorists flock into filling stations, this amid fears of a possible fuel shortage. But for more on this, Chief Economist of Efficient Group, Dawie Roodt, joins me now to have a discussion about this. Dawie, good to have you this morning. Not too pleased about this topic because it means that we have to pay more for fuel, at least potentially. These predictions are to go by. Let's talk about what you think informs these fuel hikes, or at least the prediction of it.
Well, at the moment, it seems as if the petrol price can increase by around about 10 cents, maybe 12 cents a litre. So depending, of course, what's going to happen to the exchange rate of the currency and the international oil price over the next couple of days or so. But at the moment, I think around about 10 cents a litre or so. Remember, there are three major factors that affect the petrol price. The one is the exchange rate of the currency, which changes every day. The second one is the international oil price, which also changes every day. And the third one is a certain levies, like typically like taxes by the Minister of Finance, which changes only once a year. Now, we do know that the petrol price or rather the exchange rate of the rand and the international oil price keeps on changing every day, and that's the reason why we have an adjustment, a mechanism to adjust the petrol price every month. And every first Wednesday of the month, the petrol price is adjusted. But at the moment, it seems to me we can expect an increase in the petrol price around about 10 or 12 cents a litre or so.
All right, so can the consumer afford this? What does it mean for the SA consumer then?
Well, fortunately, in inverted commas, is that people are staying at home much more than in the past. People are working from home much more in the past. The South African economy is not growing very strong, which is really unfortunate. But all these factors contribute to a low consumption of fuel. So the effect of the increase in the fuel price will not be as severe as it would have been, say, for example, 2 years ago. But still, there will be an impact on the South African economy. South Africa is a very large country. We do not move all our stuff on railroads the way that we actually should be.
Right.
We use the roads quite a lot. So fuel, the petrol price and the diesel price is very important, and that will have a knock-on effect on other prices in the economy as well. Additionally, we've seen what we saw the last 10 days in South Africa, all factors that are likely to push up prices generally, and this additional increase in the petrol price, I'm afraid to say, will also add to upward pressure on inflation. At the moment, the inflation rate is around about just above 5% or so, and the South African Reserve Bank will meet this week to decide on the repo rate. But for now, I don't think they're going to change the repo rate. But eventually, all these additional pressures will increase the inflation rate and eventually will force the Reserve Bank to increase interest rates. I don't think we're there yet, but in the next couple of months of time, depending on what happens, the Reserve Bank may be forced to increase interest rates in order to contain inflation.
So on the note then, Dawie, take me through what rating agencies are warning against, especially with the impact of last week's riots on, the country's economic recovery plan. Obviously,
yes,
there is an impact there.
Yeah, I think the context is very important. The rating agencies look at all sort of things in the South African economy. Usually or traditionally, the most important single thing that rating agencies looked at was the state of the state's finances, the fiscal finances. Now, I can tell you at the moment that our fiscal finances are in a horrible state. We are pretty close to what we call a fiscal cliff, which simply means that the state's debt has reached levels that are completely unsustainable and keeps on going up. So the Minister of Finance needs to stabilize the fiscal accounts. And the most important question for the Minister of Finance now is what he can do to rein in state spending. He must spend less money. Unfortunately, if you spend less money, you spend less money on people, and if you spend less money on people, then people get angry. So that is the political problems that the Minister of Finance has. Also, what we've seen the past 10 days or so simply means that the South African economy will be affected, which means that all sort of ratios, like, for example, the debt-to-GDP ratio, will be affected as well, and that will put even more pressure on the fiscal accounts. They've already downgraded us to so-called junk status. I think there will be further downgrades, but not yet. So by the end of the year or so, unless we fix our policy decisions in South Africa, I'm afraid we're probably going to see more downgrades. It's not as if it's going to make much of a difference, because the big one was when we were downgraded into junk territory. But there's junk and more junk and even more junk. And all those further downgrades will be negative to the South African economy as well.
Listen, if that's not a reality check, I don't know what is. But thank you for keeping us to speed with this and painting that picture for us. Economist Dawie Roodt.